Are you ready for the best in Sooner football recruiting news? Then it's time to get locked in with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Whether you're a recruiting doomer or sunshine pumper, text the guys on the First Liberty Bank text line at 405-651-3439. And call your shot on the Riverwind Casino jackpot line at 405-329-9000.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Come on now. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's rock and roll on a Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday, everybody. And happy official start to the football season. I think that's kind of where we are when it comes to local media day having come and gone, which is what we had earlier this afternoon. It's about that time. About that time to really start hunkering down and talking ball, and we'll do it here with you for the next hour or so here on Locked In on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Grayson Singleton and Connor Pasby here with you, brought to you by Dorsey Jones GMC out in El Reno. Tell you more about them as we go along in the show. CP, what's going on, homie?
They're good, man. It's a lot happening today. Some OU Media Day, top 25 coaches poll to get into.
Yeah.
We have some content.
We do have a lot of content. I mean, look, this is my sheet just for this hour. This is the sheet. Those of you on YouTube can see what I just held up right there. By the way, we are on YouTube. KREF Sports on YouTube is where you can find us and interact with us there, as well as the First Liberty Bank text line, 405-651-3439, like General Booty's lieutenant already did. All right, time for Locked In with our favorite host, Love Island Piano Bar, Avocado Toast, Microwave Salmon, Cowboy, Grayson Singleton. What's happening, General Booty's lieutenant? That's a hell of an intro right there. Yeah, coming up on the show today as well, about 8 minutes from now, we'll go dive into the coaches poll because that's one of the big talking points of the day. I've got about 4 takeaways from the coaches poll. It is Auburn Day on the team takeover. It's Auburn Day, so what do we think about the Tigers going into this year? And then, I have not given him the choices yet, but I'm going to let Connor Pasby pick the third segment. And I've got 2 choices where we can go here. So Connor's going to pick the third segment here today. So all about that coming up in the next hour or so. But the press conference, you guys have broke it down. Daria and Josh broke it down a little bit, and we talked about it yesterday. Connor, we were kind of in front of this. It seems as if the defensive tackle rotation is kind of stealing the show here. It seems to be that's going to be the biggest unknown and the biggest question that we have in fall camp is how does that defensive tackle room shake out behind David Stone and Jaden Jackson? Now, I do think that Brent Venables did issue a challenge to David Stone to make sure that he keeps his foot on the gas in terms of the work ethic, in terms of the mentality. Don't allow yourself to coronate yourself as somebody before you actually prove it. I do agree with that, even though I think that if you're going to make a list of Sooners that could potentially disappoint in 2026, David Stone, for me, is not on that list. But behind him, man, kind of a wild question mark right now, and it seems like we were ahead of that yesterday, Connor.
Yeah, well, first off, you want to see David Stone lead the way because that's someone, if he's able to play a whole season, I mean, that's a first-round draft pick that you're seeing on the field for Oklahoma. And we brought up Jaden Jackson being the other guy at defensive line, but, yeah, it's funny that was the topic of conversation today about the defensive line, kind of what it looks like behind Jaden Jackson and David Stone, because they were more deep as a unit last year. Yep. And Dominic Williams was someone that, had that experience, and he was a great leader in the locker room for the defensive line group.
Yeah, there was. So you lost some veteran presence, you lost some NFL talent, and you lost proven production. I gave you guys the numbers yesterday, but coming into last season, the 4 defensive tackles in 2024 combined for 101 tackles. Coming into this year, the 4 projected defensive tackles in the rotation have combined for 72. 70 of them are between David Stone and Jaden Jackson. So we're in a much, much different situation here when it comes to defensive tackle. So I think we were early on that. Obviously, Brent didn't sound all that, I don't want to say confident, but didn't sound all that sure of what we're going to get a defensive tackle behind Stone and Jackson. Something else that popped up to me from Media Day, Trell Harris. Emmett Jones says we're kind of in wait-and-see mode about Trell Harris coming off of his injury that has ailed him throughout all of spring and all of summer, pretty much the entire offseason, ever since it was announced that he was coming over here from Virginia. Any concern, Connor Pasby, on Trell Harris, Ref Army? What are we thinking about Trell right now?
Well, with the talk, we knew he was banged up, and Terrell Harris is someone coming in. You know what you're going to get with Isaiah Satania, but you're looking for another wide receiver that can hurt the defense, tear the defense apart, and Terrell Harris can be one of those when he's healthy and on the field for Oklahoma. We have to wait and see kind of what week one looks like for the Virginia transfer.
Said this last week, but Trell is an interesting case to me because I'm not going to forecast doom and gloom when it comes to Trell Harris, but I will say I'm keeping an eye on him because he's been going through a hamstring problem. And it's one thing if you, like, break a bone or something like that. Like, okay, that heals itself usually. Now, the Giovanni Gibson situation just took a really long time to get to where he was healthy enough to play. But when you have a soft tissue injury, so I get soft tissue injury and I hear multiple setbacks, however minor they are, and Emmett Jones said they were minor setbacks, however minor they are, if I hear soft tissue injury and I hear setbacks, especially multiple, I'm not going to ignore that. I'm just not. Now, again, he might be healthy. He might be ready to go week one, and that's all fine and good. But it's something to keep an eye on going forward.
And that's also a group that Sooner fans do not want to hear with the wide receiver room not being healthy.
Just trauma out the you-know-what, man. Just all sorts of trauma. Now, I will say, if Trell has to miss time during the season or the hamstring aggravates on him, at certain points, I will still stand to my opinion from a couple of weeks ago that Oklahoma is loaded at wide receiver. Because if you have 6 dudes that in a wide receiver room that you feel confident in, to me that's the definition of loaded at wide receiver. Mackenzie Allen could step in after a big spring. Manny Choice has looked good. We'll see maybe what we get with E.T., but you also had Parker Livingston come over and got some young dudes. I think if Trell is betrayed by that hamstring, as long as we don't have a cascade of injuries like we did in 2024 at the wide receiver position, they'll be just fine.
Feels like you have a good mix of returners and transfer portal ads in that wide receiver room that you feel really good about. I'm excited about some guys that could step up into a bigger role like you brought up with E.T. Manny Choice. A lot of folks mentioned Manny Choice as someone that can do some good things as well on the field.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm interested to see what Manny Choice can bring. And then Parker's brought him up, which, by the way, Parker will be back tomorrow on this show. But Parker's brought him up so many times. I'm so intrigued about Mackenzie Allen, the transfer from Washington State. I am really, really interested in what he can do because I just keep hearing he's had a great spring. Everybody loves him. Obviously, he's got the connection with John Mateer and Arbuckle and whatnot from their time over at Washington State. I think they've got a loaded wide receiver room, and you're not going to convince me otherwise.
And still has some of that, chemistry that he had with John Mateer, and that obviously plays huge when you have that quarterback wide receiver connection.
Yeah, 405-651-3439 on the First Liberty Bank text line. Dan in Madison, Mississippi. The other thing about the wide receiver room, you have to factor in the tight ends. There are going to be a lot more 2 tight end sets, which relieves the pressure on the numbers at wide receiver, and that's a big thing because if let's just say, for hypothetical sake, you do get that cascade of injuries. Maybe not as many as you did in 24. But let's say you have 1 or 2 go down that have to miss time. You got 3 tight ends that you can work with, and they have a lot more ability to mix up personnel to combat a receiver injury or 2. So I even if Trell ends up, going down the road that a lot of people on some message boards have said, oh crap, here we go again. They got a lot of ways to be able to maneuver that and still be okay.
And it's a good point that Dana Madison brings up because Jason Witten earlier today, he was bringing up that it feels like they got enough bodies to play more 12 and 13 personnel. That's pretty good to hear that. A team that desperately needs to run the football a lot better than what they did a year ago. That's nice to hear from Jason Witten. This
is also an interesting point, and I want to get to this before we talk about the coaches poll. 3-star Glenn from Nashville, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Jaden Knott also come to OU off of an injury that he sustained at Cal? Very, very true. Very true. Oh, and then, by the way, he hurt himself in fall camp because he had a shoulder thing.
Yeah.
He had a shoulder thing in fall camp. He had an ankle. It was an ankle problem at Cal that bisected his final season in Berkeley. So, to finish the text from Glenn from Nashville, if Harris struggles this year because of injuries, please do not take guys in the transfer portal that have questionable health. And I mean, look, they have. They have taken dudes out of the portal last couple of years that have had some injury problems. I'll tell you another guy that had a little bit of an injury bug last year at his previous stop, Parker Livingston. Like, Parker Livingston had a hamstring problem in the early middle part of the year. His health was up in the air for OU Texas. So it's something to keep an eye on.
Well, that's just part of it when you take guys in the portal. And you just know what they're capable of when they're fully 100% healthy. And we know what to expect or what we can possibly see on the field with those guys that you mentioned, especially Terrell Harris, because we've seen it on tape, what he's done at Virginia.
The Bleeper says, Grayson, you're an idiot. We are not loaded at wide receiver. We have one wide receiver who has proven himself at OU and in D1 over time, Isaiah Satania. All right, okay, cool. We have Isaiah Satania, Trell Harris, who was all ACC last year, Parker Livingston, who we're really excited about. Now, I think Parker Livingston still has a little bit to prove because he did have a drop issue last year at Texas. Not a major one, but he had a drop issue.
Well, he's still young, too.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. But he was still their fourth leading receiver on a very good offensive team. So, there's three right there. But Mackenzie Allen, unproven, okay, fine. I'm still going to trust my intel on that one. I'm going to trust the intel that Parker's brought, so there's four. Manny Choice, again, going to trust the intel on that one. So, look, if you want to say you have some sort of unproven nature, okay, I get you. I got you, Bleeper. But they are loaded with talent, brother. They are loaded with talent.
It's more than just one. What Terrell Harris did last year, 847 yards and 5 touchdowns. You mentioned all ACC. I think he's proven it on the field at the D1 level.
What'd you think about the coaches poll? Oklahoma at 9. The top 10 looks like Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Notre Dame, Indiana at 6, Miami, A&M, Oklahoma, Ole Miss.
For the first, it's kind of what I expected, 1 through 6, with Ohio State 1, Oregon 2, Georgia 3, Texas 4, Notre Dame 5, and Indiana 6. I don't know how you feel about Texas A&M. When I saw Texas A&M at 8, I'm not sure what to think of Texas A&M going into this year. I thought that was a little high for the Aggies.
I thought it was a little high for A&M. I agree with that. The top 6, I have – the only change in the top 6 I would make is I would throw Miami higher. I think Miami's low.
Okay.
I think Miami's really low. The other teams in the top 6 I don't really have an issue with. To be quite honest with you, I don't. I like Ohio State at 1. I like Oregon at 2. Georgia at 3. Like the top 3 I think is great. Texas at 4, okay, I can live with that. Notre Dame and Indiana. I think Indiana's going to take a step back. I'm okay with that. I really felt like, especially where Oklahoma landed, I felt like this coach's poll was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot different than what we saw for Oklahoma in the SEC preseason poll because, them being the 7th SEC team, they're the 4th SEC team here.
Remember, context matters here about the whole 7th in the SEC thing.
Right.
The point scale. The separation between the 3rd place and 8th place was 50 points.
Good point.
That's just a hodgepodge of teams that could end up 3rd to 8th. So I'm not really too bent out of shape about that. But I think 9 is fair for Oklahoma. Last year, your high in the AP poll was 5. Your CFP high was 8. and that's where you ended up at the end of the year. So I think 9 is a very good landing spot. The Lane Kiffin effect. How about that? Leaves Ole Miss after they go to, what was it, the semifinal? They drop all the way to 10. LSU, after having a dismal season, up at 13. So I think the Lane Kiffin effect is certainly interesting there. Does Lincoln and USC have a chance because they're at 14? Do the coaches think that USC has a chance to get into the playoff?
It'll be interesting to see what USC does with that schedule. If they can, manage to go 10-2 and get in the playoff, we'll see.
It's not an easy schedule.
No, because they got Oregon on there.
They got Oregon. They
Indiana.
have Ohio State. They got Indiana. I mean, if they make the playoffs, they're going to earn it, man. if Lincoln's going to get the Trojans to the playoffs, he's going to earn it, man.
Well, how many of those are on the road too? Is Indiana on the road?
I think Indiana's at home. Let me pull this up. As Steely would say, this is bad radio.
USC's at Indiana.
Okay, so they're at Indiana. They're home for Oregon. So they're at Indiana, home for Oregon, home for Ohio State. They do have to go to Happy Valley against a much improved Penn State team, which, by the way, holy Matt Campbell, Penn State's at 17 in the coaches poll.
Yeah.
How about that?
The effect there, with LSU and then, Penn State. Some coaching changes in the offseason gets them ranked, right here in the top 25 coaches poll.
The Spy in L.A., USC will not make the playoffs, trust me. Oh, man. Beams on the First Liberty Bank text line. Easy schedules still seem to get rewarded by the committee.
Tattoo Baker, do they pack the Coliseum from Oregon? Expect 250 people there. Tattoo Baker.
When's the last time they actually packed the Coliseum?
I don't know. Every time I see a picture of the Coliseum, it looks like a complete joke.
I know, right, man? I know. The Bleeper says Trell is injured and hasn't played a down at OU. Neither has Livingston. Okay, so the Bleeper, I think, are you just disregarding the success that they had at other places? Like, does that not matter to you? Like, I'm like, real question there. Like, does what Parker Livingston did at Texas not matter? Does what Trell Harris did at Virginia, where he was one of the best players in a pretty good conference, not matter to you? Like, is that kind of what we're getting at here?
What I've learned is folks just want to wait and see with them being in an OU uniform.
Yeah, I get. I mean, there's a difference
though.
between proven production and, proven production, I guess, in the uniform, because they have had proven production. I don't know.
But the big thing is outside of Isaiah Satania. Who's going to be a guy that's going to make a big impact? Because all the big plays that felt like that we saw in the air was, to Isaiah Satania.
We shall see. Time, as one-star S. Rob Boomman will say, time will tell. Time will tell. 405-651-3439. Time will also tell on what Alex Golish, Byron Brown can do at Auburn. What can that pairing do at Auburn? It's our SEC Team Takeover brought to you by Norman Hyundai. It's on the other side. Plus, my favorite memories from watching Auburn. Judging by my age, y'all might know where I'm going with this. It's Connor Pasby. I'm Grayson Singleton, locked in on the ref. Continue.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
After a car crash, life can be hard. You're hurt, stressed, and then, when you need help the most, the insurance company doesn't care.
They drag their feet, question your injuries, and make things difficult. They put profits over people.
At McIntyre Law, we level the playing field. We take on the billion-dollar insurance companies so you can focus on what matters, getting your life back. Call us at 405-777-7000. You deserve better.
Hi, this is Dylan Buckingham. As a parent of 2 boys who have faced life-threatening health challenges, our family knows when your child is sick, everything changes. Suddenly, nothing matters more than finding hope. For our family, that hope came through the care and support made possible by the Children's Health Foundation. They're advancing research, improving treatment, and standing beside families all across Oklahoma. Because every child deserves hope, healing, and a healthy future. Join us at chfkids.com.
No matter who you are or what your background, we here at Big Tobacco want you to know that
we will never discriminate against any age,
ethnicity, or gender.
You can trust that we will tell you whatever lie is needed to convince you to try smoking.
Our messaging will
always think of you first.
Lying to you. Right where you are.
Because you are our
number one customer.
Big Tobacco wakes up every day ready to get you hooked. Help fight the lies at tobaccostopswithme.com. A program of T-Set.
You ever stop and think, what happens if my air conditioner quits today when it's 100 degrees outside? That's not a problem you want to figure out at the last minute. Hey, it's Chris Plank. That's why I trust Norman Air. Whether it's a quick repair, routine maintenance, or a complete new system, they've got the experience to get your home comfortable again fast. I use them in my house, and you should too. They can also help with plumbing and electrical. Don't sweat this summer. Call the team that's been keeping Oklahoma families cool for years. Norman Air. Service to the max.
Are you worried about what might be lurking in your walls? Hi, this is Reese with Cavens Group, experts in mold and asbestos detection. For a limited time, get our comprehensive inspection and rest easy knowing your family's safety comes first. Our certified professionals use state-of-the-art technology to uncover hidden dangers and give you peace of mind. Don't wait for problems to get worse. Call Cavens Group today or visit cavensgroup.com and breathe easier tomorrow. Cavens Group, you don't need us until you need us.
Winning in business means having the right teammate. Stride Bank's commercial banking experts are here with treasury management, lending, and cash flow solutions designed to help your business score big. From local startups to established enterprises, we've got the tools and expertise you need. Visit stridebank.com. Stride Bank, member FDIC. Stride Bank on your team since 1913 with Oklahoma roots and nationwide reach.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
Step right up, America. Got equipment to sell or looking for something ready to work? At Purple Wave Auction, it's as easy as it gets. Easy to sell, easy to buy. Construction, ag, fleet, and government equipment. All no reserve, all online. Register for free.
Don't wait, get swinging over to purplewave.com. Purplewave.com.
Hey, right quick, and this is Locked In on the Ref, home of Sooner fans on a Tuesday. Appreciate you guys rocking with us, Grayson Singleton, Connor Pasby. I was in the building when, as many of you were, when Jackson Arnold made his return to Norman this year. And I was there early and heard all the wild stuff being said to him from out of the crowd. It was kind of wild, I'm not going to lie. That would pale in comparison, Connor, to the just probably hateful things that would come out of people's mouths if this happened. Kyle from Sallisaw on the First Liberty Bank text line. There's nothing I want more in my life this year than for us to get to take Muleshoe to Pound Town in a playoff game this year. If USC has to come to Norman for a first-round college football playoff game, I will move heaven and earth to make sure I am in that stadium because, Lord, the things that would be said to Lincoln Riley and USC, you just have to be there because you'd never be able to repeat it to anybody, and nobody would be able to repeat it to you.
Yeah, you'd have to find a way to get into the stadium. It would be a game where there's extra security there. Kind of like what you're seeing
on
with
the field?
Yeah. Kind of like what you're seeing with Lane Kiffin about to go to Ole Miss.
Yeah, no kidding, man. No kidding. Did I see somebody on the text line say we should throw Worcestershire sauce bottles on Lincoln Riley?
Yes, we did have that toward the end of Steelman's show. That would be funny.
Incredibly clever. Incredibly clever. Oh, well done. Grayson and Connor here with you on Locked In. Another note. Shout out former Sooner Gerald McCoy. Made his ESPN debut earlier this morning. He was on Get Up. He was on First Take. Great TV, man. I mean, I know I've seen him on NFL Network for years, and now NFL Network and ESPN have the merger. But he was on there with Greeny and the crew. He was on there with Stephen A. and Jason McCourty on First Take. It was great television, man. In a setting like that, in a sports debate setting like that, Gerald McCoy is good. I thought he was fantastic on ESPN today, man.
He does a great job, and I always enjoy when he's backing up the man Baker Mayfield. He's been doing that a lot.
He does.
He continues to do that. Yeah, especially after the Bucs and Baker not being able to come together on a contract.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. 5-star Brian in Bixby says there is less than a 0% chance USC makes the playoffs.
I don't know, man. Yeah. I don't see it either, but who knows?
There's a world where they do. Like, I think people are giving USC a lot less of a chance than they should. Like, I think they would have to pull off some upsets, but they get Oregon at home. They get Ohio State at home. Like, USC, there's a path there. I think they've got a very good quarterback, by the way. I love me some Jaden Mayava. So, I don't know. I know this ain't USC radio, but I do think there's a chance USC makes the postseason. If they do, go ahead and bring them to Norman. I'd really like to see what that looks like.
Powder puff. If Stinkin' Lincoln had to bring USC to Norman, Oklahoma for a playoff game, the second he found out about the game, there would be reports of a black SUV leaving USC, never to be seen again. Yeah, very sneaky.
Oh, that's a good one, man. That's a good one. Drew from Bixby says Lincoln would make the move to the NFL as an analyst before he would play in the playoffs.
Yes. If things go south again this year or the next year, you could possibly see him being, up in the NFL, being an analyst.
Oh, here's a good question before we get to our SEC team takeover today. I saw this earlier from Reformed Homer. I'm glad he's sitting in again. What is more likely, A&M stays top 10 or finish with their typical 8-4? So I'm not high on A&M this year. Let me say this better. I'm not the highest on A&M. I don't think they'll duplicate what was it, 11-win season last year?
Was it 11? Yeah.
Either they won double-digit games. But I think they're better than 8-4. Especially if Marcel Reed takes the jumps that a lot of people seem to think that he will. A&M is better than an 8-4 team. I think this team trends more toward being a perpetual double-digit win team because of Mike Elko. Mm-hmm. And I think Mike Elko is a hell of a coach. They knocked that hire out of the park. The culture's different. There's a new toughness there. I think the program seems to be a lot more buttoned up, a lot more well-run now with Mike Elko. Obviously, we know that they've got the dearth of resources that they've got available to them with the oil money and whatnot. I think A&M for the foreseeable future is going to trend more years than not toward being a double-digit win team than they are their perpetual 8-4.
For me, the road trips are difficult for A&M, LSU, Alabama, and then in Norman late in the year. Mm-hmm. Oh, and you get, Texas at home, but yeah, Texas to close out the regular season. Yes.
Yeah, no, they have a daunting schedule, as does everybody in the SEC as well. So, I don't know, it'll be interesting.
They got to clean up a lot of their, the offensive line is going to be a mystery for A&M. I think on the other side of the ball, on the defensive line, too, losing some guys.
Cassius Howell,
yeah,
one of their best pass rushers from a year ago is in the NFL. They're replacing a lot on both sides of the line.
They had to do some work in the portal.
They did. And they've already lost one of their better linebackers for probably at least 3/4 of the season after an injury in the spring game. Let's talk Auburn. Our SEC team takeover brought to you by Norman Hyundai. Servicing you and nothing else. Start your car buying experience anytime at normanhyundai.com. Stop by their beautiful new facility on the Mile of Cars in Norman. Okay, so when it comes to Auburn and our SEC team takeover this afternoon, starts with Byron Brown, doesn't it, man? Transfer from USF, came over with Alex Golish, who took over as the head coach. I like me some Byron Brown, man. I'm a believer in Byron Brown. Now, I don't know if I'm a believer in Auburn, but I'm a believer in Byron Brown. 6'3", close to 240. He has gotten better every single year. So in 23, in his first season as a starter, completed 65% of his passes, 26 touchdowns, 11 picks, got hurt the next year. But in 2025, you compare his 2025 season to his 2023 season, his touchdown percentage has gone up, his interception percentage went down, all of his advanced numbers went up from his 2023 season, and his touchdown to interception ratio was 4-1. 27 touchdowns, 7 picks. Not including 14 rushing touchdowns as well. I think he rushed for over 1,000 yards too. Like, this is going to be their best opportunity to have an approximation of Cam Newton, is what Byron Brown can be. I love me some Byron Brown. And again, I don't know, because they lost a lot of their receivers that made them dynamic from last year. Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton, no longer there. They still have Jeremiah Cobb at running back, but they lost key pieces on defense. Keldrick Falk now is with the Titans. So I don't know if I'm a buyer in Auburn, but I will buy all the Byron Brown stock.
Yeah, he's got experience, and what he's shown at USF, I mean, just last year, for example, over 3,100 yards, 28 touchdowns at USF. The talent is there at the quarterback position for Auburn. What does it look like around him? And the defensive side of the ball for Auburn, Grayson, I know it wasn't a good season last year for Auburn, but the problem wasn't the defensive side of the ball. When you look at some of those games.
No, not really.
That Auburn had last year and what they gave up. I mean, at home, they lost to Kentucky 10-3. Gave up 20 points to Georgia. Just stuff like that. Their defense kept them in the game. They just could not do anything on the offensive side of the ball. This will be a breath of fresh air for Auburn fans if they get a good Byron Brown.
Now, again, what do they have at wide receiver? That's going to be interesting. What kind of guys does he have to throw the ball to? Don't really know much about those guys. But I think he's going to be good, man. I think Byron Brown, if there's a quarterback that we're not thinking about that could be a huge riser in the NFL draft once we're talking about it come April 2027, I think Byron Brown is that dude. I get the traditional stature of a quarterback. I get the big arm. He's a lot more accurate than people actually give him credit for. A season ago, he was 18th in the entire country in total QBR. Getting better every year. Advanced numbers get better every year. I'm going to buy the Byron Brown stock.
And this man running the football, too. Over 1,000 rushing yards last year. Sophomore year had 800. And 14 extra scores running the ball last year. He's got it. And 6'3", 225. He's got a good frame on him.
Yeah, man. You and Steely were talking about the, by the way, 405-651-3439 on the First Liberty Bank text line. But you and Steely were talking about the Mount Rushmore of Auburn athletes. And for a team that is kind of looked as low upon as Auburn is, they got a royalty, man. Obviously mentioned Cam Newton, Charles Barkley, Bo Jackson. Yeah. They got some dudes that have come through there. But Cam Newton, man. Yeah, y'all remember watching college Cam Newton?
Dude, that season and what they did, 2010, the Auburn season.
Yeah.
That was just, oh my gosh, man.
66 completion percentage, 30 touchdowns, 7 picks, obviously won the Heisman and all the other awards. Ran for 1,500 yards. I forgot about that. He ran for 20 touchdowns.
Dude, it's stupid.
Before Joe Burrow came around in 2019 and had that season, which I don't know if that'll ever be topped by a college quarterback ever again, Cam Newton's was the best college quarterback season I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was him, and then it was him until 2019 when Burrow did his thing with LSU. I mean, Baker had great years. Kyler had great years. I mean, what other great college quarterback years did we have in between that decade from Cam to Joe Burrow? We had plenty of great college quarterback seasons. for me, in my money, in my lifetime, it's Joe Burrow and it's Cam Newton. Because that dude was just something special, man.
Well, in that season, I mean, that schedule that Auburn had, they had South Carolina, who's ranked 12, Arkansas ranked 12 at the time. Then they had number 6 LSU, go to number 11 Alabama, and then you had a 19-ranked South Carolina in the SEC championship game. Tough stretch of games there for Auburn.
They did.
Cam Newton, that's a season that you'll never forget at the quarterback spot and what he did. 50 touchdowns, man. Stupid.
It was incredible, man. He was incredible. Kyle from Sallisaw says, wasn't Cam the only pick from that Auburn team? He lived up to his Superman nickname. It was a joy to watch. Actually, no. He was not the only draft pick from that team. Nick Fairley, the defensive tackle, I believe he was on that team. Nick Fairley, the DT that was drafted by Detroit in the first round. I think he was still on that team when they won the national championship. But it was only those two, I believe. It was Cam and it was Nick Fairley. TK Sooner says Marcus Mariota had a ridiculous year. Yeah, he did, man.
Yeah.
I would still put Cam Newton's season above it.
Yeah, for sure. The media defender, Kyler's year was incredible. Yeah, pretty good year for Kyler.
It was. Like, Kyler had a bananas year. Baker had a bananas year. Jameis Winston had a real big year at Florida State in between that time. But I think I'd go Burrow 1, Cam 2 in terms of quarterback years that I've seen.
I'm looking at Kyler stats now. It is year at OU, 42 touchdowns in the air for Kyler, 12 touchdowns on the ground. He rushed over 1,000 yards rushing, threw for over 4,300. Dude, just some of these numbers that you look at from these quarterbacks that just have that 1 year that is just ridiculous.
You know, and I wish Kyler had a more personable personality. Because sometimes, at least in the 2+ years that I've been at this station, and we interact on these text lines that have taken various names, but I feel like Kyler is a little bit underappreciated nowadays. And I think a lot of it is because he's kind of got a little bit of an off-putting personality. He's displayed that in the NFL. Some of his teammates have not liked him in the NFL. Like, I get why it is, but Kyler was, like, Baker was really good. Watching Kyler was bananas.
Yeah. Well, Kyler has like a more quiet side to him compared to what you had with Baker.
And it comes off as a little bit aloof.
Yeah. Well, maybe a little bit how the NFL career has gone for Kyler these last few years compared to what Baker. That comes into play too.
Yeah, man.
TK Sooner, we were talking about those quarterback stats with some of these guys. Cam Newton, Kyler, Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota, 38 touchdowns to 2 interceptions and 14 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, that Marcus Mariota was dope. By the way, to close out this conversation around Cam Newton and Auburn, that 2011 NFL draft, go pull up, Connor, the 2011 NFL draft, and see how many names were in that first round. And Cam Newton was number 1 in that draft.
Let's see here. Cam Newton, Von Miller, hold on.
Yeah.
Get the wrong list I was looking for.
No, you got it. No, you had it. You had it right there. But Von Miller was number 2 in that draft.
Okay, here it is.
Like, that's just names on top of names.
Nick Fairley was drafted 13.
Yeah, he's the only other Auburn player that got drafted. But you had Cam Newton, Von Miller. Marcel Darius ended up being a really good player for Buffalo. A.J. Green out of Georgia. Patrick Peterson, one of the best corners of this generation. Mike Pouncey was in there. Ryan Kerrigan, who just retired, was in there. Cam Jordan still kicking, by the way. Defensive end for the Saints. Mark Ingram was in that draft.
Man, yeah.
Dude, that 2011 draft was probably the best single first round of my lifetime. And the list kept going, too, because the entire draft was excellent. I think Richard Sherman was a 5th-round pick in that draft.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was wild, man. 405-651-3439. Go ahead.
DeMarco Murray in that draft as well.
Oh, that's right. DeMarco Murray was in that draft.
71st pick to the Dallas Cowboys.
That's right. For some reason, I thought he was in the 2012 draft, but no, yeah, he was 2011. It's a really good point. All right. So I've seen a couple of things. 405-651-3439 is the First Liberty Bank text line. We'll get back to the text line in a second. But I've seen people releasing their college football playoff picks. Now there are two. We can go two ways for this last segment, Connor. I'm going to let you pick the segment. Do you want to hear my college football playoff picks, or a year ago, I tiered the SEC on a show that you and I did together when we did the Darinoka show together a year ago? Do you want me to do that again, or do you want to hear the college football playoff picks?
We can do that again since, it happened.
The tiers?
We were together. Yeah.
You want to do the tiers? All right, let's do it.
the tiers.
All right, we're going into fall camp. I will tier the SEC, and we'll revisit my picks from last year. We'll do it again to close up the show next on Locked In.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510.
Beats and Bites is back for its 10th anniversary. Join us to celebrate a decade of delicious food, incredible live music, and unforgettable memories at Riverwind Casino. Don't miss the fun with Jake Owen, with Jordan Rayner, Saturday, August 8th. Book your tickets online or at the box office for only $10.
Hey, it's Tyler McComas with The Rush. Catch us every day from 3 to 6 p.m. Nobody covers Sooner football like we do, and the best way to stay tuned into the home of Sooner fans, no matter where you are, is with the KREF app presented by Warren Cat. Download the app from the Apple or Google Play Store and take us with you everywhere. Just search KREF in your app store and download today. The KREF app presented by Warren Cat, whatever the job, whatever it takes. Hey, it's Tyler McComas, and you know that friend who always says, I've got a guy for tickets, and then ghosts you the week of the game? Yeah, don't be that guy. Instead, call my buddy Mike Fletcher at Totally Tickets. Whether it's OU football, the Red River rivalry in Dallas, OKC Thunder games, or the biggest concerts, Fletch has you covered. Totally Tickets is locally owned by a proud Sooner, so keep your money local. Visit TotallyTickets.com, because the only thing worse than paying too much for tickets is watching the game from your couch while your buddies are sending you selfies from the 50-yard line.
For over 30 years, CertaPro Painters has been part of countless memories. Every wall tells a story, and we've been proud to help write them. We are more than just your local painters, with care, craftsmanship, and certainty. From the first brushstroke to the final smile, our promise is simple. Your home, beautifully painted and worry-free. CertaPro Painters, that's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Hey guys, it's Dorinoka. Have you been involved in an auto accident? If so, it's time to contact the OKC Car Crash Clinic of Dr. Martin Lopez. He's a board-certified and fellowship MD with unparalleled training and experience. Dr. Lopez works with a great team of healthcare professionals and attorneys to help you achieve the best physical and financial recovery. Contact Dr. Lopez at 405-86-CRASH or at okccrash.com. Don't forget to listen every week to the Dorinoka Show for the Impact Player of the Game, brought to you by Dr. Martin Lopez.
Hi, everybody. Toby Rowland here for one of my favorite places to golf, the Trails Golf Club in Norman. The Trails offers great golf activities for the entire family. Men's and Ladies Golf Association events, summer junior golf for the kids, plus club fittings throughout the year. The Trails also has great family social events, monthly special dinners, plus holiday brunches and catering. When you're looking for the perfect place to golf, check out the Trails Golf Club in Norman. Contact Zane Alexander today at 405-364-3790 or visit trailsgolf.com.
Don't act like that. Don't wear that. Don't think that. I've heard everything you tell yourself every time you felt different, and I want you to know that you can be vulnerable and powerful. That taking care of your mind is taking care of everyone you love and who loves you. Love your mind. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Hey, shout out to the Donuttery, one of the places that whenever they bring stuff into the office, my calorie deficit goes out the table because, or I guess out the door, shall I say. The Donuttery is damn good, man. Connor, do we have a read over there for the Donuttery, by the way?
Yeah, Donuttery, right here in Norman. They're over at 115 North Webster. Yeah, they brought in a ton of donuts. They serve hot, fresh mini donuts with 30 unique sugar and glazed blends, classic cinnamon sugar, salted caramel, s'mores, cookies and cream, and lemon poppy seed. That's the Donuttery. You can also give them a call at 405-431-0144. Yeah, I was giving Steely a hard time because I couldn't tell you how many times I saw him go up there and get himself a donut.
I guess I'm just incognito because you must have missed the amount of times that I went there. I know Hattie was sitting right there when I got a couple at the end.
Kiowa Sooner says, did Connor say 71st last segment? Yes, I did. 71st, Kiowa.
I wasn't going to say anything.
The reason why we're last in education. I play a big part in that. I do my part.
Oh, man, he's Connor Pasby. I'm Grayson Singleton. Good stuff, man. Locked in, presented by Dorsey Jones GMC on a Tuesday. Hey, by the way, The Rush is coming up next with Tyler McComas and myself for the next 3 hours, so make sure you tap in with us here on The Ref. Okay, so Connor picked the segment. Michael and Marlo, I'm not reading that text.
Man.
No. Wait, what? No, Michael. It's funny. Don't get me wrong. It's funny. No, we're not going to read that one. Okay, Connor picked the segment. So I gave him the choice between my CFP picks or me tiering the SEC. Now, I tiered the SEC last year before the season. I put every SEC team into 4 tiers, 4 teams in each tier. And my picks didn't turn out all that great. I got 7 of the 16 correct. So basically a correct pick would have been if they ended up in the same tier that I picked them in. And the 7 tiers that I got right, the 7 teams that I got right were Bama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Florida, Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and that's it. So 7 of the 16 I had in the right tier, and they finished in that same tier. Texas I missed by a game. I think A&M I missed by a game. Ole Miss I missed by a game. The 2 that I was really, really off on was LSU, which I was very high on LSU, and I was very, very low on Missouri. So those were the 2 that I really missed on. Everybody else, for the most part, I either was spot on or just missed by a game.
So Missouri did better than what you had them in.
Missouri did a lot. We left Missouri for dead last year, remember?
We did.
Yeah, we thought Missouri was going to be terrible last year. And lo and behold, they were very much competitive.
They were competitive, and, yeah, they had a running game that was difficult to stop in conference play. Yeah, they did well.
And I thought LSU was going to be really good last year. Now, obviously, theirs was injury-related, and also they hated the coach. But they ended up falling off. So here we go. Go ahead, Connor.
I was just going to say, there was a lot of drama with the LSU Tigers last year. It was a disaster start to the year, and everything that went wrong for LSU went wrong.
Yeah, it did. Curtis B., I am going to read your text, bud. Grayson and Connor, I know it's not in your time frame, but the only quarterback that I knew before the season started that OU in 2005 had no chance to beat was Texas was because of Vince Young. He had a great season, and at the time, he had the most combined passing and rushing yards in Texas history. Look it up. Yes, very familiar with that. I know I was 4 years old that year when Vince Young did his thing that year, but growing up in the state of Texas, you know all about Vince Young. So, Vince Young is still up there in the top 5 quarterback seasons of my lifetime, but it still is behind Cam, and it still is behind Joe Burrow for me. But no, Vince Young that year certainly is up there on the list for me.
Well, some of those others with Texas, when you had the Colt McCoy, you always felt good with Sam Bradford going to the game. And you look at those other Texas quarterbacks, but good grief, man. Yeah, Vince Young, he's really good, man.
Yeah, he was.
And, of course, had that 2006 Rose Bowl national championship for Texas.
Against USC, man. That USC team was stacked, by the way,
was.
too. All right, let's go. Let's tier the SEC. By the way, I told you I got Oklahoma right last year. I had Oklahoma in Tier 2 last year. And Oklahoma finished in the second quadrant of the SEC. So here's what I got for this year, the SEC, to begin the season. Tier 1, the teams that I think are going to make the playoffs. I've got 4 SEC teams that I think are going to make the college football playoff. I got Georgia. I got Texas. I'm going out on the LSU thing again. I think LSU is going to make the playoff. I think they're going to be one of the top 4 teams in the SEC with Lane Kiffin. And I've got Oklahoma in this tier as well. No particular order once we get inside the tiers, but that's my top 4 in the SEC that I think are going to make the playoff. Georgia, Texas, LSU, Oklahoma.
I like it, Grayson. The one thing I would change, I would put Ole Miss instead of LSU. Just because I like Ole Miss with Trinidad Chambliss, like them a little more than LSU. I think I would have them in the first tier.
I've got Ole Miss leading off Tier 2. Just because, look, they lose not just Lane Kiffin, but they lose Charlie Weiss. They lose a really good pass rusher in Prince Umeamielen. So I think that's going to mean something. I think LSU right now is just better than them, to be quite honest with you. Even though I like Trinidad Chambliss and I like Kejuan Lacey, I have them leading off Tier 2. Also in Tier 2, Texas A&M, Alabama, and Missouri. I'm going to give Missouri some respect this year. I was way off on them last year. I think they've got maybe the best running back tandem in all of the country. Austin Simmons, I think he's going to bounce back to some degree. So I'm going to have Missouri rounding out Tier 2 along with Alabama, A&M, and Ole Miss, Connor.
Yeah, I don't have any play at all. That's probably similar to what I would have. For me, it would just be having LSU in that Tier 2 with what you said, A&M, Alabama, and Mizzou.
Okay, so there we go. By the way, 405-651-3439 on the First Liberty Bank text line. Weigh in on these tiers as we go through them. Tier 3, I don't think Vanderbilt repeats what they did last year. I do think they were a little Diego Pavia reliant, and they lose Eli Stowers, who was one of their best players from last year. I don't know what to make about the quarterback competition between Blaze Berlowitz and the true freshman Jared Curtis, even though I think Curtis is going to be a really good player. So I got Vanderbilt leading off Tier 3, where I've also got South Carolina, Tennessee, and Auburn. I think Auburn takes a step up. I think Tennessee is kind of middle of the pack in the SEC. I do think they have the possibility to be a little bit better than this, but that's Tier 3. Vanderbilt, Carolina, Tennessee, and Auburn.
Yeah, for me, Tennessee and Auburn, I'm just wait and see with them. Tennessee, I don't know what the heck their season is going to look like. There's a lot of unknown with the Tennessee Vols, and at least with Auburn, you know what to expect to come in with Brown coming in from USF. There's a lot of star power there offensively, but Tennessee, a little more unknown with them.
Yeah, and by the way, Tennessee and Auburn play each other, like you just mentioned, on October 3rd, so that's going to be interesting. Tennessee plays South Carolina in this tier on October 24th as well. All right, Tier 4, the worst of the SEC. Pretty obvious here. Florida, I'm just kind of not there all the way yet, even though I think their coach is going to take winning seriously because he has threatened to toss himself off the stadium if he doesn't. But Florida, Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. That's my bottom 4 right there. I don't really think there's going to be any objection to that.
There's not. We'll see what Summerall does in year 1 at Florida. Arkansas, dude, that's a team that I see them going 2-10 again and not winning a game in the SEC.
And they were 0-8 in the SEC last year, too.
Could be 0-9 this year.
Yeah. JW Crunch, by the way, on the YouTube chat says his top tier is Georgia, Texas. He just deleted it. Nice try. Georgia, Texas, Alabama, and Ole Miss. I memorized it before you deleted it, homie.
Yeah. Folks still like Ole Miss. They're still exciting, and they will be with Trinidad Chambliss.
Michael and Marlowe says, this morning the Donuttery guy was on with Dari, and he was talking about the new dill donuts that would be coming soon, and he didn't pause enough between the dill and donut.
Okay, I must have missed that. I missed that.
Okay, I see it now. All right. Fair enough. No, I did not catch that. Odessa Sooner says, my top tier is Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma, and A&M. So swapping A&M for LSU, I can see it. I don't know. I'm high on LSU again. I'm gonna ride with LSU again. I think they've got a better coach, better situation than they had with Brian Kelly. So
they're gonna be the most hated team.
They will be the most hated team, that's for sure. But sometimes hate can make you powerful. Another Star Wars quote right there for you guys here on Locked In. That's the second one I've given in about 2 weeks or so. All right, The Rush is next. Parker's back tomorrow. For Connor Pasby, I'm Grayson Singleton. We'll see you.
Football. You love it. We love it. You live it. We live it.